Hello, maurieos. 2019 Land Surveying 1 Levelling Test Review. Hello. Welcome. Well, I've marked the levelling test and I've posted the results on Moodle. And in marking the test, there's a few things that have come to light that perhaps need a little bit of clarification, and perhaps some people need to go through the model answers and, clarify a few things for themselves. These tests, it's important that, you put a lot of effort into studying for them. I put a lot of effort into writing them and marking them. So we need to maximise our return from that effort by looking at the feedback and getting every little bit of ounce of learning that we can out of these tests. So this is a review where I go through the test and, just point out a few salient tips, if you like, or facts or things like that. So let's get on with the show. So we head over to the Moodle site, and this is Moodle here. Now we look in assessment and tests, and there's the test there, and there's the levelling test there, and here's the preliminary results just right there. So preliminary results there. For the green is the NZDE and the blue is the BTEC. So overall pretty good set of results there, quite pleasing. There's some people need to a few little things that need to be sorted out for them, and that's fine. Don't worry too much. This is the first test. It's nice if you get a great mark, but we can learn from the experience. So for the NZDE, it's worth 5% of the total mark. So like a 50% score is still going to hold your position. I don't think there's any BTEC, it's worth 9, but I think everybody scored relatively well there and sort of held their position in terms of, got over the 50 or 60%, which is the maximum return that you can get, for maximum safe return that you can get from for them internal marks. So let's get on and have a look at the test. So here's the levelling tests, and every test since 2014, plus a little generic one in there as well for the 2014 people who had naught to go on. So I'm going to look at the model answers for the NZDE. Here it is here, and we're going to wind it up to full size here, right? So here we go. So this is the diagram here. There was marks for each of the things on the diagram, essentially 1 mark for the diagram. Some didn't indicate the difference in height so well. The diagram is drawn not necessarily to scale, but it's true. So it is a rise there going from A to B. B is higher than A. Difference in height there, backside minus the foresight, 0.721, and then add that to the height of A to give you the height of B, 87.953. Okay, the 2-peg test, some just drew the top diagram, which I sort of accepted, where it showed equal error because the backsights and foresights are equal. 1 or 2 people went full noise and did both diagrams, which is what was on the 2-peg test form that I gave you. So yeah, all power to those people, full marks there, just showing in the diagram. A picture tells 1,000 words, but then I also asked you for the words as well. So keeping the backsights and foresights equals means equal error at each reading, and therefore true height difference can be determined. So that's the key concept there. that drives the two-peg test. And a number of people had got that down pat, and hopefully they know what that means, which is good. Yes, the health and safety, there was one or two that got this wrong or lost half marks, because initially there were three techniques: eliminate, isolate and minimise, but a change in the legislation here in New Zealand meant that minimise and isolate were combined into one called minimise. So now we have eliminate and minimise. Dog in an enclosed yard, take the dog off site, eliminate. Tie the dog up, minimise. There's degrees of minimisation there as well, depending how well you tie the dog up. Right. These readings, to the nearest plus or minus 2 mils on those generally, as a general rule. So that was pretty good. Well done. Just the upside down one, you must put the negative or a bar over the top. Some people omitted to do that, so lost half a mark there. That is important. The staff held upside down inverted is on the roof of a eave or a building. So just going back to the diagram, it indicates where you're taking the height of something that's above the line of collimation. So the staff would be inverted, say on the roof of a building or a tunnel or a house, a room or something like that. So that's pretty much it there. This is the levelling form, and so you add up your back sights and foresights and subtract them away in this case, because you're levelling between two marks of known level. I might have to just drop that down a tad so we can get it all in. Of marks of a known level. So that's like that. Now, and then work out your rises and falls. If these two here are not equal, then there's something seriously wrong with these. If they're not equal, you've made a mistake in your arithmetic, and you need to sort it out before you move forward. Otherwise, you're just going to create more problems. And this is why we have the checks there. And so there's a mark for that. So there's 3 marks there. So because once you move forward, then you come to here and you accumulate them down here and then subtract that from that. Again, you should get the same value. And if you don't, recheck it. It's a system that we're talking about here, a system of getting this right. Okay, and then we come to the adjustment. And you can see there that that's, once you've got that right, these are all go. You see you've got to subtract 4 millimeters to get it to what it should be. So that's your adjustment. So I go through and identify the intermediate shots. See, intermediate, they're all identified there, because the adjustment doesn't work with there. It doesn't, and they're not included in the adjustment. So we've got 4 millimeters to adjust over 8 setups. So that's 1 millimeter every 2 setups. So I've got 1, 2 there. I could have, 1, 2 there. All right. Sorry, no, 1, 2 to there. I've omitted that. And then 1, 2 there. Those two, 1 mil, 1 mil. All right, forget those ones. 2 mils there. So that would be 1 to 2, nothing. And then a mil there for those two, and then a mil in here. And that's how it gets. And then they just add across. So pretty simple. This here is your difference. This is just that. So that's what the difference should be. That's there. So that's again checking your that you've got your adjustment correct. Got the correct adjustment. So that's all in all there, 10 marks. This is pretty, 8 setups. You just count the number of back sights for the number of setups. 5 plus or minus square root 8 is 14.1. Pretty good stuff there. Money for nothing. Okay, or marks for nothing. Now for this one here, heights in terms of Maurieo datum. So 1 mark for the datum, Maurieo datum. And then we need to know what the origin of heights is and where the values came from. So the origin of heights is BMTT, which was from up the top here. And then that was, and using that value from the Wintec City Central Plan, number 805, which is given to you there, and using values from that. So that's the name of the mark and its thing, and that's where the values came from. So full marks for that, and half marks in some cases where perhaps the RL wasn't included, where the plan wasn't included or the mark wasn't included. So yeah, but generally pretty well done. And then that moves us on to this gradient question. So yeah, the chainage distance along the road. So the chainage, or the meterage, if you want to call it that, very important. So you're going there from 40 to 150, 110 meters is the run. Now the rise is can be a fall. So a rise is positive, a fall is negative, but they're all rises in terms of gradient, I guess. A bit confusing there with the terminology, but you need to get your head around that. So you need, in this case here, we were going from high to low. So we're going downhill, so that's negative. So we're always going to get a negative gradient. So rise over 1 minus 3.135 over 110 times 100 to make it a percentage gradient gives you that gradient there. Now at what chainage will it be? 102. Draw a diagram. Always draw a diagram. Top tip, draw a diagram. Yes, draw the diagram. The high to low, 102. So it's obviously, that's 40, that's 150. So it's going to be somewhere between 40 and 150. And yeah, so then you see, well, how much fall is there from there to there? 1.972. You know the gradient is a percentage, negative. Don't forget the signs. Keep the signs. And yeah, then you got a little equation which you manipulate until you get x. There, this is why you study manipulating the equations in maths. These are just everyday little things that you should be able to do. And that gives you x. Now, x is the run. It's not the chainage. So it's the distance from chainage 40. So 69 plus 40, 109.193. That's your answer. At 109.193, the RL of the centre line will be 102. Yep, that's right. Okay, so that's for the NZDE guys. 2 marks, and I haven't allocated the marks there, but you can see that you got pretty much the scope. So generally people would get 1 mark, 1.5, or 2 if they got everything right. So they might got the negative sign, the negative right, left the negative out, and then that's impacted further down here as well. So I've made some allowances for carrying on mistakes and things like that. All right, so now NZDE guys, you can your test is finished, but not for the Bachelor of Engineering Technology. You've got one more question right at the very end, and you get less marks for those first 2 ones. And then you've got this one here. It is proposed to continue the road at the same gradient for another 150. what would be the proposed range at 265? So the road's going for 150, but you only want to go to 265, which is only another 115 meters at that gradient. So 115 at minus 2.85 is minus 3.2775. It's just simple. Just go 150 times 0.0285. That makes it, takes the percentage away, and that is equal to 3.2775. And then you take that off 100, because remember the diagram, draw a diagram, top tip. Oops, I think this is turning into an ASMR video. Draw a diagram. And yeah, you can see you're going downhill 97.560. So the centre line level at 265 would be 97.560. Make it nice and easy for your examiner so that he can feel, or she, but it's me, he can feel great about giving you good marks. Yeah, make it easy. All good. So that's pretty much our review of that there, and we've gone through. So if you've got any questions, well, you could ask them in the comments below the video, or you could contact me and you know, see how you go. Yeah, well, that's it. Hopefully you've got some little inside information on that particular levelling test, remembering that similar questions will be in the exam at the end of the year as well. So it's, you can't put all this information to one side. You've got to keep it on board, keep reviewing, and you know, the end of the year exam is a national exam this year, so it may be a little bit different to what you've used to here, so you might have to apply this in a slightly different way, but all in all, pretty good. So, cheers. See you.